This guy had to sit out 2 videos in a row. He's waited long enough. Alex Stewart Mahan was born in California on June 30th, 1988. After attending public school up until the age of 12, his parents decided to pull him out and homeschool him instead, severely tanking his social skills and connection to the outside world. To make up for this, Alex spent most of his days playing video games and watching anime, often up to 12 to 16 hours in a single day. Through this, he developed a warped sense of reality, often seeing the way characters interacted on screen as an accurate portrayal of the real world. This would dictate the majority of his actions moving forward, viewing people and their decisions through this distorted lens. During his teenage years, the internet had started becoming mainstream, and Alex's first taste of it would come in the form of YTMND, aka You're the Man Now Dog, which was a community where users could create their own humorous web pages. A considerable amount of Alex's contributions involved sex in some way. He tended to go by the name Eva Zephon, a combination of his 2 favorite animes, Neon Genesis Evangelion and Ra Zephon. He'd go on to rant about how many similarities the 2 shared, to the point where he once made a 400 image gallery on every single thing Zephon copied from Evangelion. Although he shared it across many sites, it was largely ignored and Alex was left to find something new to complain about. Around 2005, Alex joined the anime forum Gaia Online, where he'd constantly bemoan about his personal problems and his lack of a love life. Amidst these rants, he voiced his hatred for his parents, and fantasized about killing them in the middle of the night using a knife. Why? Because they wanted him to go to college. That's it. After receiving numerous words of advice from other users, Alex opted not to go through with it, as he realized he would never be able to survive on his own. Also, it's obligatory I bring up the iconic cum chalice video he posted here. This was a clip that he would try everything in his power to bury once it became a meme.
I, Eva X, humbly submit a toast to Nicholas Alexander for successfully managing to pirate Warcraft 3 so that he may play Defense of the Ancients. Congratulations, Nick. Enjoy your Dota.
So what else did Alex do online? Well, he wrote fanfiction, of course. He started by joining fanfiction.net in August of 2005, and in September of that year, he published the first chapter of his story titled I Am Your Slave, of which he detailed the story of a sex slave in captivity and all the grotesque things that happened to her. Alex would defend this piece by saying it was a precursor to a story of retribution, where the main character would escape captivity and become the founder of an all-powerful team of heroines. Conveniently enough, he would never get to write that portion of the fanfic, as he quit making updates 4 years into the project.
So that was a fucking lie.
Only getting in about 59 chapters, or what would be about 350,000 words, or 1,400 pages. That's more than the first 2 Lord of the Rings books combined. And it wouldn't even be the last time he'd do something like this, as years later, he'd write another graphic fanfic centered around Link from Legend of Zelda doing the deed with a sex doll. The more you look into Alex's pre-YandereDev history, the worse it gets. There's constant talks about watching hentai, wanting life-size anime dolls, wanting to eradicate every slut on Earth, obsessing over the virginity of cartoon characters. Alex also created an image of his perfect dream girl, which has more than a few choice words. He calls the ideal woman for him youthful, babyish, feminine, innocent, naive, childlike, pure, uncomplicated, unsophisticated, trusting, charming, polite, pleasant, sweet, lovable, cute, cypheric, malleable, docile, meek, and submissive. Basically, a completely inexperienced girl that Alex could mold, nurture, and protect from the rest of the world, though even he admits that his his expectations are unrealistic, as most of the real-life women he's observed were strong-willed, assertive, and independent. As other users pointed out, Alex seemingly wanted more of a pet/plaything that made him feel important, rather than an actual person he could talk to and bond with. Somehow, after all of that, he still had the audacity to complain that he never has luck with girls. Desperate doesn't even begin to describe him. However, in June of 2006, Alex found a bit of luck. He had started attending driving classes, where he met a teenage girl named Amy. He and Amy would often sit next to each other and talk about their mutual interests, giving Alex hope that it could turn into something romantic. He then proceeded to share his current dilemma on the now-defunct site, the Loser's Message Board, but after accidentally hinting to Amy that he might have feelings for her, she started acting more distant and cold. Worried that he might no longer have a chance with her, he asked the internet if he should make an effort to keep in touch with her, as they lived in different areas, and the next class would likely be the last time they saw each other. Alex went on to express his love and affection for her, saying how he's never been this close to being with a girl, and how Amy might be his one and only chance to find true love. Even ignoring the fact that Alex was 18 and Amy was 16, there were a lot of weird details in this story, like how he was repulsed by the thought of Amy talking to other guys. The replies urged him to either ask for her email or stop complaining about it, since the only way to know is to just ask her. Eventually, Alex would drop the subject and move on with his life, never giving another update on Amy ever again. His relentless whining about girls began to slow down, because in August of 2006, Alex decided to at least try to become a productive member of society. Alex finally agreed to his parents' wishes and began attending school at the Santa Monica College of California. It was tough for him at first, seeing plenty of happy couples on campus, but he pushed through and acquired an associate's degree in 2D and 3D animation, as well as interactive technology, where he studied 3D modeling and programming. This would lay the groundwork for his future career in game development, but first he wanted to try other things. In 2009, Alex would dip his toes in the rapidly growing field of streaming, complete with an aggressive marketing campaign of spam threads on 4chan. Back then, there wasn't really a set-in-stone site for live streaming, so they'd be hosted on his own EvaZephon site. During these sessions, many of which are unfortunately lost to time, he'd constantly complain about girls not liking him, all while being absolutely terrible at whatever game he was playing. Don't make fun of him for this though, cause it's against his chat rules, which he explains with this diagram. Gotta say, that is a very unique way of doing it. Somehow he was able to acquire a viewer base, likely only because the internet was way less competitive back then. However, many of them would be alienated when they found out he was dating a 14-year-old girl named Sisefs. Alex, meanwhile, was 21 years old, and had coerced her into doing disgusting things. His justification for it was that he missed out on dating in high school and wanted to make up for it. His viewers would move to a different streamer named Kiefer's Video, so Alex tried to buy that domain to make his audience stay. When this failed, he lost it in an email. From then on, Alex struggled to crack double digits in viewers, so he'd quietly abandon streaming altogether. His next pursuit would be game journalism, where he'd write exclusively about sexy female characters. He was mocked for being a hardcore gooner here too, so this was short-lived. Alex decided he should actually put his degree to use and get a real job! He began work as a paid intern for the mobile game developer Kung Fu Factory, mainly doing smaller tasks like playtesting and fixing typos. The titles he worked on have rather low review scores, though I doubt he played a big role in that. Regardless, Alex wasn't satisfied with this job. He didn't want to be told what to do, he wanted complete creative control. So in 2013, he left Kung Fu Factory in hopes of becoming a solo developer. A risky move indeed, but it would eventually pay off. Alex's first project would be a fighting game prototype. inspired by the then recently released Skullgirls. After joining the Unity forums, he was given the chance to present his game idea to Mike Zymon, the design director and lead programmer of the game that inspired him. Alex showed off the rough layout and mechanics for what would become Lunar Scythe. Mike then gave him exactly what he asked for, telling him how to improve his work and to watch out for mistakes in his coding. Alex, grateful as ever, proceeded to have a meltdown, yelling about how much work he put into his demo, and that just because there was an organization problem, that didn't mean Mike couldn't offer him a single bit of praise. It was clear that Alex wasn't actually looking for genuine feedback from his idol. Rather, he was just looking for someone to glaze his unfinished code and reinforce what he already believed to be true about himself. This turned into a burning hatred for his former hero. He vowed to develop better indie games than Mike and outshine him in every single aspect, including misconduct allegations. With that notion in his head, Alex abandoned Lunar Scythe and began going all in on a different project. A fitting day for how much of a joke this game would become. Alex Mahan would pitch the concept of a Yandere-themed simulator to 4chan's V-board. A Yandere is a character in an anime or manga that loves another character so much that they become psychotic and resort to violence. Alex's hypothetical game would put you in the perspective of a girl like this, and have you try to kill anybody who talks to your crush without being caught. This was met with positive reception, and because Alex was anonymous, nobody knew he was secretly the vilified reject known as Eva Zephon. In the following days, he'd create a prototype and share it to a brand new YouTube channel titled YandereDev. Then a blog was created to document the new features and bug fixes as they came out. Yandere Simulator was soaring in popularity. Tons of people showed their support by creating fan works, donating to his Patreon, or volunteering to work on it. While it was still very much an indie game at this point, Alex had the backing of hundreds of dollars a month, as well as an entire team behind him. He was well on his way to make Yandere Sim a reality in the next few years. A few did discover his past as Eva Zephon, but it was crabs in the bucket. He's making a game that millions of people are excited for. Who cares if he used to be a cringe loser? Sounds like a success story for the ages, right? 12 years later... So Yandere Simulator is still not done. Even if Alex is a mostly one-man crew, it should not take anywhere near a decade to code such a project. Way more ambitious solo efforts have gotten done in way less time, most of which did not have volunteers. This man has had so much backing, so much support, and yet somehow he's unable to deliver the bare minimum. So what has Alex been doing all these years? Answering emails, that's what. According to Alex himself, he gets sent so many emails about Yandere Sim that he spends 10 to 12 hours a day responding to every single one of them. It took up so much of his time, in fact, that he had to release a video telling people to stop pestering him, in addition to several blog posts ranting about it. One guy had made a mod that let you change the height of your character, which when installed, could cause various bugs and crashes. Players reported these issues to Alex, who got so sick of it that he updated the game to lock out anyone who tried to use the mod. No, you can fuck right off! You've got absolutely no clue what you're talking about, you fucking dumbass! If something is an obstacle to development, I'm going to eliminate the obstacle. The mod was presenting obstacles for me in the form of worthless bug reports, so I cock-blocked it. Go stick your dick in a beehive if you have a problem with this decision, you dumb fuck! Tons of people suggested that he hire a secretary to answer them, but he refused to because he didn't want to go through the effort of training someone. That takes less work than doing it all yourself, if anything. And when Alex wasn't answering the 80 billionth email that day, he was silencing criticism, copyright striking videos he didn't like, rage quitting video games on Twitch. Kinda like me. No! No! and buying the YandereSim subreddit for $3,000 to, take a wild guess. He was so quick to ban anybody making fun of him that people started making speedruns in the official YandereSim Discord, with the world record being half a second.
There's no way I'm gonna be able to start both at once, so... Oh, I told you, I am epic gamer.
If he was working on the game, he would add random Easter eggs that nobody asked for, hairstyles, of which there's currently over 200, or fixing bugs and errors that he caused in the first place. Very poorly, mind you. The code of this game is a complete mess. And most of it wasn't even done by Alex himself, but rather unpaid volunteers. YandereDev only pays people when he feels like it, and he usually overworks them or forgets to credit them. Not to mention almost all of the assets are from the Unity store, including the infamous toothbrush, which is so unnecessarily detailed that it alone is responsible for most of the game's issues. To try and speed up development, YandereDev got the publisher TinyBuild to help. They offered to fix a bunch of issues with the code, many of which were extremely amateur mistakes. However, 6 months in, Alex abruptly stopped bringing them up, and even banned mentions of them in his Discord. He dodged as many questions as he could regarding this topic, until finally admitting that the partnership ended due to creative differences. However, leaked emails would show there was more to this. Turns out the partnership was nothing more than an impulsive attempt to both own his haters and get the game unbanned from Twitch. Oh yeah, because of the game's risque nature, it's banned from being streamed on Twitch. Alex tried to get them to change their mind, but they said they would only reevaluate it once it was finished. That's a mic drop if I've ever seen one. On YouTube, it also tends to get age restricted if the panty shot mechanic is shown in action. The code wasn't improved enough to justify it in Alex's eyes, so he wanted out. But if he were to terminate the contract, it would cost him $30,000. So Alex tried to extort TinyBuild into letting him do it for free, saying that he would smear their name on his 2 million subscriber channel if he had to pay that much. And believe it or not, they actually caved in. Yeah, TinyBuild isn't exactly the sharpest company out there. This could have been the easiest defamation case in history. Cowards. Scrutiny around Alex's actions began to rise. His skills as a creator, collaborator, and developer all came into question. The years of positive attention he built up had finally crumbled and turned against him, only leading him closer and closer to his inevitable downfall. Those who were hungry for a good Yandere-themed game decided it was time to take matters into their own hands. When anything gets popular, there's bound to be bootlegs. More often than not, these are low-effort imitations that get nowhere near the same love as the original product. On very rare occasions though, ripoffs can succeed far beyond what inspired it, and this could have easily been one of those times. There were countless Yandere simulator clones, many of which were objectively better programmed, but they almost never saw their way to completion. Sometimes it be because they got too ambitious for the dev to handle, like with Watashi no Mono. Watashi no Mono played largely similarly to Yandere Sim, except your character was already dating the senpai rather than just having a crush. It got a lot of positive reception from starved Yansim fans, which made Alex furious. He spammed the DMs of the creator, EarlyDev, asking him to cancel it, and while this didn't faze him, the amount of people who were expecting Yandere Sim but better did. EarlyDev wanted it to be its own separate thing rather than a full-on replacement. Ultimately, he could not handle the pressure, so he'd officially pull the plug and release the source code to the public. If only the other copycats ended as peacefully as this one did. More often than not, Yandere simulator clones end with internal fighting. Take, for example, Love Me, a game born from the Kiwi farms where many of Alex's detractors frequented. Users Vertex Windy and CatFat were confident they could outdo Yandere Sim, so they gathered several volunteers together to form Starcross Team and came up with Love Me, where you play as a girl named Miku Kiwi, get it? Who's attending university instead of a high school, thereby fixing one of the biggest problems people had with Yandere Simulator as a concept. However, a 3D modeler named Louise got sick of having all of her ideas rejected. She got kicked off the project for constantly throwing hissy fits about it, so she and another artist on the team left for a different knockoff. Limerence, later renamed to the State of Limerence due to copyright issues, was a more diverse take on Yandere Simulator. Each rival represented a different minority, but this idea backfires once you realize they're the people you're supposed to target. In an attempt to be more progressive, they accidentally created a game where the goal is to attack marginalized groups. The teams of Love Me and Limerence hated each other. There was constant leaking, doxing, and drama on both development teams. I'm not kidding when I say it is the most sunlight-deprived shit you will ever read. It's no wonder neither of these projects went anywhere. Oh, and as a bonus, the lead artist of YandereDev hated Limerence so much, she drew lewd art of an underage character with "fuck Limerence" written on her thigh. God, I need a break. There. The Limerence devs would try game development again, this time with a farming game titled Naporia. However, due to the racial protests in summer 2020, they decided to put it on hold until the world gets better. That'll show 'em. But easily the most infamous Yandere Sim clone has to be Lovesick. A YouTuber named Dr. 8bis showcased a demo that he created in 2 weeks, which ran way more smoothly than what Alex had spent years on. What made it sting harder was that YandereDev wanted to change his game's name to Lovesick, but couldn't because the community voted against it. Lovesick instantly went viral, so Alex DM'd Dr. 8bis saying he was going to do something drastic. This got leaked, and instead of earning sympathy, the hashtag #RipYandereDev trended on Twitter. Lovesick was well on its way to dethroning Yandere Simulator, but then skepticism arose. It was discovered that many of the assets were stolen from other fan games as well as Yandere Simulator itself. It was also found out that Dr. 8bis had already made a clone before this called Heartbreak, under the username Narwhals Are Falling. All signs pointed to the done in 2 weeks claim being a bit of a lie, and if you dared bring this up in the Discord server, you'd get banned. Dr. 8bis was becoming the very developer he swore to destroy, and he really should have thought twice about rebranding, because his new name subtly hinted at his downfall, kinda. Zaid, one of the game's volunteers, was sexually harassing female colleagues, so he was promptly removed from the team. But the very next day, Dr. 8bis then decided to run a poll with management asking if he should be given a second chance. The majority said no, yet Dr. 8bis still reinstated him anyway. Another volunteer named Under the Mask posted pictures of his dog's asshole and was very racist. Anything that could go wrong with management did go wrong. And on September 13th, 2020, a catastrophic document dropped. It revealed that Dr. 8bis had attempted to groom a 10-year-old. The evidence was overwhelming and the backlash was immediate. With no way to defend himself, Dr. 8bis ceased all further development on Lovesick. Since then, general interest in Yandere Simulator clones has greatly declined. The premise just isn't appealing to anyone competent enough to manage a big project. No self-respecting individual would look at a game where you sexually harass high schoolers and say it has potential. Most of YanSim's fanbase is either kids with unmonitored internet access or PDF files, neither of which should be involved with making a game of this caliber. That's why YandereDev, no matter how flawed of a person he may be, is still the king of this genre. Alex never commented on Lovesick's downfall, but you can bet he was cackling knowing that he didn't have to worry about competition anymore. Little did he know that his own demons would eventually come back to bite him in the ass. On September 25th, 2023, a YouTuber by the name of Ali's Son uploaded a video called "The New Allegations and Evidence Against YandereDev." The video contained screenshots and audio recordings of Alex behaving inappropriately with a 16-year-old. Can we really be surprised at this point? Ali's video detailed how Alex and the alleged minor discussed various topics, such as the age of consent. Alex would go on to say that the numbers were arbitrary, since there's no visible distinction between a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. To defend his point even further, he's shown in another clip saying that it actually wasn't his fault for liking minors, as it was actually Mother Nature and the natural process of puberty that sexualized them. The victim, who would go by Jane for privacy reasons, initially reached out to Ali a few months prior, saying that she had been in contact with Alex for quite a while. A couple of quotes from him had raised some concern from Jane's friends, wanting her to expose Alex for the creep that he appeared to be. Initially, Ali told Jane to go to the police with this information, as they would be able to do more with it than she could, but Jane insisted that this was the best way to expose him, and so over the next few months, they began secretly recording and screenshotting all of the conversations, waiting to gather enough evidence to make a solid case against him. The video, once completed, would not stay up for long, as it was hit with a copyright strike just 2 days later. Ali released a statement on her Twitter saying that Jane was the one who requested the strike, though she wasn't entirely convinced that it was actually her. Screen recordings would later come out showing that Alex had contacted Jane, begging her not to release the video, then urging her to take it down when it was published a few days later. Eventually, Jane would release a statement on the Yandere Simulator subreddit. While she didn't refute the evidence given in Ali's original video, she did express her resistance to having the video and all its contents published in the first place. Jane was actually the one responsible for the copyright strike, since she had revoked her consent to have the recordings be publicized and felt as though her privacy had been breached. All the online drama had started to bleed into her personal life, and she began to think all the hate towards Alex was unnecessary. She even said she did not feel like a victim, did not feel traumatized by what happened, and did not want what happened to hurt Alex's career as a game developer. That's not suspicious at all. Alex would respond on both the Yandere Sim blog and his YouTube channel. Surprisingly, he gave what most people would consider a mature response, not making excuses for himself and actually taking accountability, though he likely only did so because there was nothing else he could do. Regardless, reception to the apology was not taken lightly, and many disappointed fans walked away from the game and its developer for good. Alex would then release a second statement a few months later, attempting to disprove the allegations levied against him. Did you actually think he was gonna own up to his mistakes this one time? He discussed a few of the clips featured in the expose, explaining they were taken out of context and that his intentions were totally different from what people thought they were, though somehow he might have managed to make it sound worse with the context. He never addressed any of the Snapchat logs between him and the minor, or the time he blatantly stated that because Jane was very skinny, he found that very hot. He then goes on to pull the depression card, saying that he was unable to go outside due to working on Yandere Sim 24/7, which led him to being isolated and lonely. When Jane reached out to him, he felt that was an offer he could not refuse. In the months that followed the allegations, he explained that he had worked on improving himself. He was socializing more, making new friends that were his age, and most important of all, going to therapy. These life updates didn't exactly settle the qualms people had with Alex, since, you know, he committed a very heinous act that has a very high reoffending rate, but many still saw it as a step in the right direction. As for the game itself, Alex said he was going to resume working on the project in the next couple of months, whether people wanted to support him or not. While he has continued to update the game, not much substantial content has been added, although seeing how much backing the game had lost, with most if not all of the staff stepping away, it's not hard to see why. Ali's video is still up and available to the public, and while we don't know Jane's stance on the allegations now, we know that she was comfortable enough to have the videos remain online. What's also remained online is Alex's history of creepy behavior and downright disgusting actions. While the grooming allegations may have been a major shock to the community at the time, you don't have to look back very far to see the signs were always there. From day one, Alex has made it clear that he likes his woman the way he likes his games. Underdeveloped.